Right now, you are in one of these two situations. Either your LinkedIn is making you money, either you are producing content every week with nothing in return. So you post, you comment, and you try to build a brand. However, no real conversation, no customer, and no sales. While someone else in the same platform is actually getting inbound messages, clients, and opportunities. Same platform, different approach. But in this video, we're gonna fix that, and I am going to show you exactly how you can build your own LinkedIn personal brand so that your content generates trust, builds a community, and gets you the business that you want. And if you're new here, my name is Joe. I grew my LinkedIn personal brand from 0 to more than 40,000 followers, and over the past 5 months, I've helped more than 50 businesses transition to AI, generating more than 6 figures for my own AI agency. So with that aside, get comfortable and let's dive straight in. By the way, 2 quick words before we start. This is an actual client work. I got paid $10,000 to do this, and I decided to share it for free with you. So what you're going to see now are the actual video that I made for him and that we used in order to start with the initial strategy. Enjoy. Pretty excited to start working together. Welcome to these 90 days on how we will build an amazing personal brand on LinkedIn. And allow me to say that first of all, my location, even though it might not seem like at my girlfriend's house, so regardless of my location, I will ensure that I will make it up, and so the quality of the video will be super high and extremely valuable for you so that you will be able to actually get what you want out of these 90 days and you will be able to build an amazing personal brand. Let me start by setting some initial expectation. I will keep it very short because I don't like a lot when people do that. But what I want to say is it will be much more rewarding than you will think. And it's going to be also much more difficult than you think, because getting the hang of a platform, learning what works, what doesn't, nailing down your strategy and who your ICP is, it's going to be quite a lot of work, but it will be eventually extremely, extremely rewarding. I can promise that. Let me start by showing you actually what I mean in practice with it will take a lot of time and it will be more rewarding and more difficult than you think. What you see right now, it's the moment in time in which I was still growing my personal brand. So if you can see, it's pretty outdated. I will show you a more also updated version of what happens today. So which is quite some month after, I would say October 2025. But what I want to share with you is, as you saw initially here, when I was posting and when I was trying to learn the platform, nothing really happened up until the first spike. And why is this first spike extremely relevant? Because what happens after the first spike is that your algorithm actually starts to be trained on who is it that actually wants to see your content and who is it that actually enjoys the content that you are producing. So what we're going to aim, specifically in the first month, is we will try to make this spike happen as close as possible to the beginning of this month, which will be when you receive the video actually. And this happens because if I then go and look at what happened for me in terms of growth for followers, you will see that after the first spike that happened May 7th, right? So it's around here. So if you can see, and this will be also one of the things that we will review together and then you will learn along the course, like my spike was somewhere here, which has nothing to do in impressions, so in visibility of my post. That has nothing to do with how my content and my profile actually grew. So why do I mean that consistency, mindset, and we have to nail down the initial strategy is super relevant? Because as you can see here, my growth started compounding pretty massively, and this is growth per day that you're seeing. So even 1.5K people in a day and etc. But this growth that does not necessarily reflect how viral I go on the platform, right? And I can tell you that the most amount of money actually for all of my businesses, because I do AI implementation and also I help people sell AI services, came specifically in these moments right here, which is when we will do bottom of funnel, which is content made to convert. So why do I say this, and why is it relevant for me to set it up in the beginning? Most of the stuff that I am going to share will help you either grow massively in terms of following, or will help you sell the things that you want to sell or convert in the way that you want to convert. And they will, and you will see that the way that it happens is so immediate. Like it's not like you start with 1 and 2 and then you grow. You will start converting massively, like hundreds of people out of one post. And why is it important to say in the beginning? Because I want this course to get you exactly where you want and in the amount of time that you want. And in order to achieve that, we need to have an aligned mindset and an aligned expectation that whenever we look at metrics, we will need to look at the metrics that are actually going to be relevant for what we want to achieve. And what do I mean by that? Is your intent converting? Then we will have to lower impression and create contents that convert. Is your intent to grow massively on immediately and get to 100,000 followers? Then we need to ensure that the content that we're producing is not only having this, and I learned it with my mistakes, right? Is not only doing this in terms of impressions, but actually it's doing this. So the day in which I converted 1,600 people, August 21, it's actually around this date right here, that it's impression 171,000. And here I was nowhere close. And I got almost like 500,000 impressions. So why do I say this? I say this because I want us now, and we will go into the practice right now. So this is the only thing that I wanted to align. There are plenty of courses that will boost your impressions and do whatever and all this messy stuff and you know better than I do actually. What I want to give you here is the strategy for you to be able to grow on any platform. So the blueprint, it's invaluable. It's learned with my mistakes and it works across. Let me just give you one more proof before we actually dive deep into the content. I'm now growing my YouTube, and as you can tell, like my channel had an average of 200 views and etc. Here we're going viral, 100,000 views, and we reached more than 1 million whatever people. And I converted a ton of people and made a lot of money from this. So why is this relevant? Mindset. With that being said, we can immediately start and going into the nitty-gritty details of what we need to achieve and how are we going actually to build this brand. So let me go to my second screen real quick. Okay, fantastic. So I just got my second screen here and ensure that you can see it. And this is the initial part and the first three framework that you will have available. And I will walk you through them right now. And I will explain you what are these and why are these important. And the only keyword that we have right here is strategy first. And once the strategy is clear, we're gonna nail it with the rest. So just like every good course would do, we also start with ensuring that we have everything in place. What do I mean by that is that there is no point in discussing content and the type of post and whatever if we don't know what is our direction and if we don't know what we define as success. So this is the first thing. And by the way, here I am also going to ask that you show me what monetization you want to do, because even though this is a grow your LinkedIn course, for me it's grow your business. So I will audit everything that you have in place, and I will ensure that I make the right strategy for you to achieve that. So let's start with the 3P personal brand. Let me go full screen. Can you actually see it? Let me just make sure. Yes, you can. It's a bit cut on the top, but you can. Cool. Okay, we start with the why. And no details or no things like bullshit, whatever. Your why is very different from my why. It's very different from everyone's why. Someone just want to make money and it's a strong enough why, I believe. Someone just wants to grow and get famous. So the why we do a personal brand, it's very important. And I will give you my why, because having a strong why will help you go through the bumpy moments in which you will get no traction whatsoever. Because if the expectation is that everything will be unicorns and rainbows, it will not. So to give you a framework of what I mean by why is, my why is I do help people create a personal brand, right? That's the outcome or the product on across platform, most likely, because once I nail YouTube, then I know all the platforms. And I sell AI services to businesses and teach people how to make money with AI, and scale their own agency. So what is my why? My why is I have this AI wave coming that I am afraid of. So I need to take advantage of this opportunity. And in doing so, I want to make sure that as many people as possible we take advantage of AI in the way that I believe it's relevant. What I believe will be relevant in the future will be that people will lose their jobs. So the only jobs that I believe will be will have an impact are community creation and brand creation. So how do you create trust on people, right? And how do you do it online? How are you able to sell products online? How do you convince the other humans that it's worth investing in you and then you have their best interest at heart, right? So with this, I imply also sales. So that is my why. And this is the expectation that I would like to see, regardless of what your why is, because it will help me evaluate what is also the direction that we take with the content, right? Because the why, it's the core, and then the content is just the, I want to say a smoke screen, because content is a bit of a smoke screen that will get people closer to your why. So for me, knowing why we do this, that's just extremely important, and it's point number one. Now, why do I want also a 1-year goal? And why do I keep the metrics below? The reason is because everything that we do, if it's not tracked, is useless. And I come from an engineering background, so I'm extremely data-driven and result-oriented. So for me, if I can't track something, then I'm just losing time, right? We don't want to do that. I don't want to grow my followers just because it's nice to have a number on the screen. And I don't care enough about this stuff. So what is the goal that we are going to set? And are you good at setting goals? Are you, do you think that you can build an audience or a brand just pouring money in and doing random stuff? Or are you committed to content creation? And do you know that even if paying $1 billion or $1 of dollars, nothing will move, right? Because people need to resonate with the content. So the quality of the content is so important. So with that in mind, what is the 1-year goal? And how are you going to set it up and I will give you also the framework to do this just in a second. I will just explain this page. So the first thing, so it's the goal. And then I want to see what metrics are you tracking to achieve this goal. So with this, I mean that most of the times people focus on what I call lead measures. So imagine that you have a pipeline, right? So you have your pipeline right here, and we are good. So with lead measures, in case you're not familiar, it's everything that you will see at the end of your pipelines. So in social media, what do you see at the end of your pipelines? You see followers, right? That's a measures. So what do you see here? You see money. So how much are you earning and that, right? So this is a lag measure. What is the lead measures? It's the levers that you can pull, ideally, let me go here, otherwise you're going to be blinded, in the beginning of your little funnel that will ensure that you make the best decision. So what are some lead measures that are decent enough, right? So this is the number of posts that you're making, or this is the number of good ideas and pre-validated content that you are deciding from in order to make a single post. So because, successful people have a tendency of identifying a lot of very good ideas and then picking the best out of those. So, for example, in the video that you saw, by the way, I'm not saying that I'm successful. I just realized. But in the video that you saw in the beginning with the 100K, I had 5 videos that I decided from. So that is my expectation for you. Like, you need to come up with more than one idea every time you want to post. If you post last minute, we are not on track to do what we want to do. So with this, I mean that here we need to have both. So I want the lead measures and I want the lag measures. So one amazing lead measures is the number of time we post in a week, and the bare minimum that I recommend initially up until we get the hang of it is 7. So 1 per day. I have seen top creators going 7 and etc. However, there is a recent trend that where creators that are growing the most are posting 3 times a week, a day. Sorry, 3 times a day. But this does not convert as much as posting 1 converts for now. So this is to say, metrics are important because then with your why and with your metric, I can help you out in figuring out, are we going there? Are we not going there? And etc. I will now give you a list of metrics you can choose from. So start day is today. So here it's basically just the sign off of these 90 days. And here I want to see what you will be able to review in 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. So why is that? Because if these goals are not achievable, then nothing of this makes sense. Your brand is just going to be a disaster. So we want to nail it down and ensure that these are achievable. But this will also help me out in understanding how much should we push, right? Because if someone says, okay, like the fastest growing profile on LinkedIn grew, I think this year, 100K in 6 months, I think. The fastest, absolutely fastest. Using the things that go the most viral but make no money. He made 100K of followers with 0 income. So is that the goal? Like, do we want that? So you decide. I just want to see that the whole process makes sense. And here I want to make sure that each time we are ensuring that we are ticking and achieving our goals. So this is to say that then once you have these, then I need to have clarity also on what are your obstacles to overcoming your goals, right? So, and how you plan to overcome them. What do I mean? I mean that if here there is an example, right? A very convenient example. I want to create a newsletter and I want to sell things that, I don't know, a creator called Charlie is selling. So how people can make money with AI. So the obstacle could be, and it's reasonable, right? I don't know, my team can't make a newsletter, or I don't know how to make a newsletter, or we don't have bandwidth, right? And overcoming your goals could be, okay, let's figure it out together, right? Ask Joe how we can fix it, or get an AI automation, do X, Y, Z, like, because once we have this in place, then that will be a bit more relevant, specifically for growth on LinkedIn, and the funnel will make sense. And by the way, whenever I judge content, I judge your funnel, I judge whatever. I judge a lot of stuff, to be honest. Maybe too much. Sometimes I can be very annoying. But everything will start from this, so apologies in advance. And how do we get good goals? Framework number 2. Framework number 2 is this. So this will be one thing that you have to compile. And you will have 2 separate goals. So of course, I couldn't make a gigantic spreadsheet, so that's why I gave you this. But you will have goals that are related to metrics and goals that are related to brand, right? So metric and brand. What is the difference? The difference is that I gave you an 80-20 of what they could be, right? So you can finger pick from here. I would do it from scratch. So metric based, for me, it's what LinkedIn tracks, right? So followers, reach, and engagement. So translated, follower, impressions, and likes, comments, reposts, stuff like this, right? And I make sure that to give you this little breakdown, because sometimes we just say, like, 100 likes, and then we stay there, or like 3 repost, or no, we need to make it very specific. Brand metrics is okay. Other than, and by the way, growth based, brand based, growth based is also money. And we like this part specifically when we build a brand, because that's the whole point of building a brand, in my opinion. Like, other than having an impact on people's life. Good. Now, intangible. Intangible can be the rest. I would add sponsorship. I don't think I added it. Yeah, I didn't. But sponsorship can be intangible. However, if you do it right, could be also related to the amount of money, and so I would frame it under the growth based metrics. Why is this relevant? Because this is not BS, by the way. It's because when I will do the audit of the profile, if you want to be invited to speaking opportunities, you will have this type of profile, right? I will need to make sure that you are like super efficient on introducing yourself as a speaker. Let's imagine that you are a dude that made 7 exit and it's so fucking amazing and etc. We need to make sure that if the intent is to be positioned as a thought leader in entrepreneurship, we have a different type of profile. Let's imagine you want to sell a course. Then most likely you will have something similar to my profile right now, right? So make money with AI, come to my community, join, whatever. So why these are relevant? Because this exercise, and I can't stress it enough, will be the Bible, or it's an Italian translation, so maybe, I don't know, maybe I offended someone, sorry, but will be the Bible that we will follow to assess if you are going in the right direction or not, and if your strategy even makes sense in the first place. Okay? Cool. Now, what are the goals? This is a pretty common one, so I will not stay a lot, but so specific. So you need to be specific, give numbers. You will need to be able to measure it. So how long will it take? Where will it go? And how do you plan to measure this stuff? Like, are you, I don't know. So for example, click-through rate on a link. LinkedIn doesn't track it. So are we going to measure that? And like, that's why maybe for a newsletter, we will use Substack, but whatever. But this is important because this gives you also building back everything that you need, right? If we see, shit, we have a newsletter, but we're not tracking the CTR. We're not tracking conversion rate. We're not tracking, then what are we doing? Then achievable. So are we able to achieve it? Like, hey, I want to grow 100K in month 1. Well, you can buy followers, but is that what we want? Like, if the goal is set in the wrong way, then the outcome will be wrong. Because you can absolutely make 1 million followers and get 0 money and all fake people. But that's not what we want, right? So then relevant. So is that even a goal that you should be having? So if someone wants to make 10K a month out of whatever, then there is no point in checking the followers. You should check impressions, so how many people on target see your post, and you should be checking conversion rate through CTR links, right? And then time bond. So in how much are you planning to achieve this? So I truly hope I convinced you enough. We're not losing time spending the first, I don't know how much it will take. For me, it took a week, but everyone does it in their own terms. But I really hope I conveyed how important this is, because with this in place and nail it down, we're gonna smash it. So this is just to say, super good. Let's go. Now, I hope this is clear. And I will now move to the second part, which is a bit more difficult now. and we go to the brand pillars. Allow me to get a sip of water. Allora. And by the way, I hope you don't hate that I use some Italian here and there, because otherwise it's gonna be such an awful video for you. Cool. So what are content pillars? Given your strategy, given your why, right, of what you want to do, you need to define what pillars are relevant for your content, which in other words means what are the things that you will talk about and that people will get to know you for. Let's imagine you are an entrepreneur, 7 figures, extremely successful, 7 exits, but you want to sell flowers. Then entrepreneurship might not be the right pillar, because environment might be one, right? Or if you want to teach how to sell, then sales skills and persuasion could be another great pillar. But why is that? Because with the pillars, it's not only what we like, it's actually never what we like, because the content that we create is not for us. We don't have to look good. I mean, that's my philosophy. If you want to challenge it, fine. But we don't do content to look good. We do content to make money / impact people in the way that we want. Move traffic, get a subscription in their newsletter, bring them to change, or force them in a nice way, force to change a behavior, because that's how people get value from our content. So this is what the content pillars are. And with this, what we understood already is that the content pillars should come down from your why, but should be back engineered from the ICP and what you are trying to achieve and do with your brand, right? Am I going to become a thought leader? Then I talk about entrepreneurship. Then I talk about, what do we talk about? Financial, like money management, that on LinkedIn is not so good, but it's very good for brand positioning. And what are my pillars, right? What are my interests? What do I have to share with my ICP? What are his pain, right? So for example, I know personally a dude that is positioned as the CEO of the CEOs, right? You don't want to. So what is it relevant for that specific person? If you want to coach CEOs, right? What is going to be relevant will be leadership things, will be culture things inside the company, and how employee behaves, right? And you will see, like, there is going to be plenty of things that you will be able to see, and so on and so forth, right? So these is two examples. Then, I don't know, sales techniques, stress management. Like, I'm just going broad now, right? But yeah, that's what the coach of a CEO would help them do. And then you are talking to the CEOs in the way that they listen, because this is what we want to do. So my golden rule here is that we want 1, 2, and 3. And to be honest, if you were to ask me, that's that. And why? Because humans tend to do association per 3. And to give you this analogy, and to make it stronger for you, I will use an example. So, and this is also what I use, by the way, in my sales pitches. Let's imagine that I am pitching you some solutions, right? I tend to create my offer in 3 steps, right? Where are you? Okay, in 3 steps. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you, hey, like, you have this. It seems like you're good at this, but you didn't get the result that you wanted because you're missing this. So you're 6 inches from gold, or you're almost there. We can just tweak this and this, and you're going to be fire. And then, people get bought into your things, and eventually they convert. And in our case, by the way, initially, if we're moving things out of a platform, the effort is simply to press a link. But let's not forget that there is still attraction. So we're always in need to create a pain that is big enough for them to be able to take an action. Okay? Good. With this in mind, it doesn't mean you need to have 3. It means that I will annoy a lot you in case you don't have only 3. But if there is a 4th one that is super relevant for the brand and for the why, then I'm on board, right? It's not my way or no way. It's your way with my reco. And but eventually I'm on board to do whatever it takes to make that brand work. Why do we need to rank them? And is this a stupid exercise, like haha funny, or not really? Because based on the relevance, we will make exponentially more posts about this topic right here, and we will make exponentially less posts about this topic right here. Okay? Cool. Now, no, this is already one step too much. So, framework number 3. How do you define your brand pillars? We define our brand pillars starting from our ICP. Okay, you can see it. And the ICP is very well defined, and it has a name, it has a shape, it has a weight, it has an income, it has a, I don't know, people lost a job, it has a gender. Here I'm like sex, gender, like I'm not on that part yet, so my apologies for this. Like, just fill it up, whatever it works for you. What matters is that we are relating that part to the ICP that we're trying to target. Then, how do they decide, right? So, the journey to get a decision, the journey to buy a course, the journey to jump on board of your, I don't know, paid newsletter, of your high ticket coaching, the journey to do X, Y, and Z. How is it? Like, what does it look for my ICP? Because I'm going to have to back engineer the content and the funnel to convert them. Okay? Then, what's the price sensitivity? Why is this relevant? Because given the fact that we're going to have a product eventually of any shape, form, digital, mass market, high ticket, can't care less. It's what's the price sensitivity? Who are they considering? Like, why are you worth listening in the first place, man? So that's what we're trying to answer, right? Like, and by the way, important things that successful entrepreneurs and other people do and fail. Like the fact that your competitors is someone that has no proof, but has a lot of trust. Like it or not, he will convert a shitloads more than you, even if you are a billionaire, because people don't buy because you have proof. People buy because they trust. And this is the foundation of your brand. How can you create trust? Like, you paid a random dude on the internet hoping that the content that you're gonna achieve is valuable enough just because you saw, I don't know, a profile or whatever. Like, creating trust either in the people around you, either like close to you, and etc., is amazing, and it will be a skill that we will have to achieve through content creation. And why is that? Because you will not always have business through words of mouth, specifically if you run a newsletter or a digital product or whatever. Like, actually, most likely that most of your business will not come through word of mouth, nor through your past successes. No one cares about your past successes. All they care about is if you can help them achieve what they want. And how you do it is not with, the proof, but it's making them feel heard. And how do we do it? Through content, through pillars, through everything, through competitor analysis. That's why it's a ginormous amount of work, what we're going to be doing. We will go through a lot of iteration, but once we nail it, like, go smash it. Okay, then, are we developing, or do we have in mind to develop a product that aligns with what we want to achieve? And by the way, I know this is a LinkedIn, grow your LinkedIn, but not really. So, what brands does your customer consider? What is it aligned with them, and etc. And also goals, desire, behavior, tendencies. I will not make the video still excessively long, but you have this, give it some serious thoughts, nail down the strategy, because once we have this, it's gonna be a train that never fucking stops. Cool. And once we have that, what do we do? Like, we did a lot of great frameworks, and where do we go now? What do we do? Why are we doing all of this? Because now, once that you have this clarity, you can do a great thing, which is called the content conversion framework. Because as mentioned, no one is me actually, but I don't care about creating content to grow followers or whatever else. I don't know what the influencers do, but we want to create content that converts. That's our go-to North Star. We just want that. Converts to do what and how? This is what we're going to do. Now, your pillars right here that are back engineered from the pain of your customer, and if you're smart enough, I didn't mention it, but we go to competitors, we understand what they do. Like here, it's not a 5 minutes exercise that we are fucking like, there you have it, and mwah. Like, what are they talking about? Why are they talking about it? What do you think that they are trying to achieve with those things? Like, all of this strategic thing that I mentioned, it took me a week, but this is a living document. Like, this continuously changes and evolves the more we go, and the more we become better. But so what are those pillars good for? So let's go back to the CEOs of the CEOs, or even my example. I can give you a couple, like make money with AI. So here I would teach you about how to use, I don't know, something like anti-gravity and NA10. And the reason is because a lot of people that are interested in AI and automation are going to check my content, right? So here I'm going to be able to grow on target with what I want to achieve. And also maybe something else is leave your job and start your own business. So I will call it EP. So I will attract potential entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs. So this is content that it's made for growth, right? And this means that it will have the potential of making your account grow. Does it mean that you are educating or edubating your ICP? Yes, we always educate. But what we're also trying to do is we're trying to get impressions up. So sorry again for my drawings, but the whole thing of this is to be seen, right? Now, does this even work? Does this even make sense? Let's go and check. So, sorry, let me go back to my YouTube. I sell AI services, right? So, is how to build any app on target with selling AI automation to agencies? Well, for people that are interested, yes. But look at this. It's 109K views. So people that actually saw my content and pressed. But if I go on reach, I am at 2 million people, right? And also, now other metrics are going down, of course, because it's non-relevant anymore. But what does it mean? It means that I even got people that were outside of my target market. And people started seeing my face, right? That's all we want. And also, 3.2K, that's in one shot. That's my first spike for YouTube. And that is, as of today, I think half of my channel, something like this. Yeah, there you go. 5.9K or whatever this is. So it works. It works. It's the spike we're trying to get, right? We will get the spike here. Here, it's where the first and initial money in terms of following an impression is. Now, positioning. So positioning is, are you a thought leader in the space? So I don't know, I'm a six figures, 7 figures entrepreneur. I did 7 exit, and these are the things that I learned. Or this is the things that I would do different if I were to start over, right? Positioning. I am an entrepreneur. I do thought leadership about businesses. And here I'm starting to niche towards my ICP. So who is going to read this post? Not everyone that's interested in maybe, I don't know, the AI space, but the people that are interested in becoming entrepreneurs, right? Because if I talk to a 9-to-5er that has no intention of running a business, that post is not appealing nor educational. Because why? Because they have nothing to learn objectively. Like, we're not trying to teach everyone. Like, we're trying to make sure that we're giving value and educate to the people that we actually want to attract. So that's the thing. And if you want to help, I don't know, 9-to-5ers with the brand, may it be, for example, like me, may it be. What does it mean? It means that when I will be doing content for specifically to target them, all the entrepreneurs will not be interested, while maybe entrepreneurs would be interested in seeing how you can create an AI solution for their business, right? So you see, and this is another concept that I want to introduce here, in case you're new to this. But the funnel has a shape, right? And the funnel ideally has a shape like this. But some funnels also have a shape like this. And why do the shape of a funnel changes? Because not every human that enters the funnel needs to go through the whole funnel. And here it's actually where we make the bags. But most of the times, people would fall outside of our funnel, but they have other intent, right? And that's why I was telling you in the beginning that sometimes, specifically on funnel like this, which is, by the way, like mine, I have a lot of top of funnel, but my bottom of funnel, it's very small. So how do you fix that? Well, this is the shape and the nature of a business. So how you fix that is through volume. So I need to make sure that if I want to make more thing, and as mentioned, my funnel has this shape, if I want to attract more people, I will just have to create so much volume that my funnel start getting bigger, because the shape of the funnel would not change. What comes here is the amount of people that are actually pouring in this funnel, right? So how do you fix it? Through volume. And so here we introduce another concept, which is that we have levers, and that's why the metrics, to pull in order to convert the people where we want according to the shape of the funnel that we have. And every business has a shape, like stupid example, right? So this is an e-commerce, correct? Because you start with supply constraints, then you cap, then boom, the e-commerce explodes, and then boom, hard constraints and supply. So the same way, so I don't know, this is an educational business, and etc. So every business has a shape. I'm getting emotional. I love this part. Every business has a shape, and just like a business has a shape, your funnel has a shape. So the fact that your funnel might be lower or bigger, it doesn't matter. We always have levers to pull in order to convert and get what we want. Cool. And by the way, this is just to say, not every product is for everyone, and it's totally fine. Anyway, so positioning. Then conversion. Conversion is, this is the result of my client, right? This is who I helped. So you show them. And what is going to be the other thing? That these are going to be less interesting, because now you're talking about results of your ICP. So it's just the people that, that stayed and didn't make it through the positioning funnel. And this is extremely important, because conversion content is the content that will get you little to no views, but will allow you to move everywhere you want your ICP. And you don't want to do too much conversion because otherwise you start to be perceived as salesy, right? And yeah. And then, of course, you have the paid, which is I want to see how we make the money. Now, right now, on purpose, we are general because anyone at this stage would be like, what content do we put? Like with video, pictures, carousels? What are we doing? We don't really care for now. All we care for now is making sure we get the content and the conversion right. You will see that whatever you write here, right, will have importance, but will be so volatile and flexible because what will stay is this part right here. It will be the pillars because the pillars will define what you talk about, how you talk about the things that you do. It's also the only things that you don't really care about for now because this is dependent on the platform. So for now, everything we said is getting us the foundation for you after 90 days to be able to rock and roll across. And then the only thing that will be left is to learn what works in a platform in terms of how do I deliver the content. And why is that relevant? Also, just to conclude, because if we start from here, you know that whenever you will, you have an idea for a content, right? You start from here, then here you have your ideation, right? This process is cross-platform. Then once you have the ideation, you have the validation that this is actually a good idea. Once you validated, you have, and I'm oversimplifying, right? The production. So let's make, a YouTube symbol or a LinkedIn symbol, whatever. And then you post, right? So this is the posting. Okay, cool. So what does it mean? It means that up until now, and all the things that we're going to learn, they are going to be applicable to here, to here, and to here, and to here. But the only difference that we will have when we move from one platform to another, and why we will not need anyone else after this course, is that this part is the only piece that we're going to have to study. Which means, am I doing it on Instagram? So am I actually doing pre-validated content and modeling it according to my competitors? What are they posting? Is it carousel? Is it shorts? Is it this? Is it that? And so on and so forth. Cool. So I think I jibber-jabbered for quite a lot. Now I wanna most likely conclude this part, and maybe I will do bite-sized video. Bite-sized. I think this is a big one. Cool. So expectation. All the three frameworks will have to be completed. And the first and initial touch point will be once this is done for you to reach out and then for us to have a it will not be short. A good one-to-one where we go through this in detail and I understand the why of these things. And then eventually, we will review it and we will validate that everything works as per expectation, and I will give you feedback according to experience and the people that I helped doing LinkedIn and making a bit of money out of it. So here, once we get this right, the rest is easier. All right, so ready to rock and roll from Luxembourg. I think we will spend the whole night together. And the reason is that tomorrow I'm in Munich for work. And I also know that the big boss asked me to push it as fast as possible. So ideally, end of the week, we're ready to do everything. So before we start module 2, let me just make sure that we're aligned on the expectations. And the expectation is that once you have completed this, and completed this, you are going to reach out to me. And eventually, together, we will discuss And I will be able to give you a personalized feedback on your work. Because that's where the value is, right? It's on the feedback, it's on the things that I learned along the way and how I can help you out in making yours even better. So if you can, my ask would be to please send me the material a bit in advance. So when you ask me for the call, send me also the material. And the reason behind it is that I would much rather come prepared to the call and with time to think properly about the feedback that I may give you according to the strategy that you lay down, instead of me doing it live. So that's just for me to be able to help you better. In case you cannot manage, it's fine. I'll do it live, but I would much prefer. So let's go into what we call the 8 steps to find your tribe. And why do I want to start from here? And just let me say that this will be the last module before we actually talk about content creation. And this is extremely relevant because it's important that you understand the difference between a video platform and a text platform before we even go into how do we create the content. All right. So actually, let me start with this. Let me go into Excalidraw, and okay, this is my stuff for the agency. Let me zoom in right here. Cool. So let's talk about text platforms. You don't need to know the difference with video. I know he has already an Instagram, but I will give you the insight on the text. So how does it work with LinkedIn? With LinkedIn, as a creator / entrepreneur / whatever framing you prefer, you start with a piece of content, right? And ideally, you create this piece of content like this and you publish it. Then what happens? What happens is that your piece of content is pushed to the algorithm, and then your algorithm will start distributing it, right? So we have something like this. So what is the thing that happens? The thing that happens is that once it's distributed, where is this actually distributed? It's distributed to a layer, which is actually the first layer connection, right? So in case you're new to LinkedIn, let me show it to you real quick. So if I were to go on my post and go right here, how you would define first layer connection is from this number right here, right? First layer connection. Now, if I go on most recent, I see that I start having second layer connection. And then eventually, if I scroll down enough, I will also find third layers connection and so on and so forth, right? So this is how this works. Now, why is this relevant? Because if the first layer connection interacts, why is this relevant? Because the first layer connection, actually, let me start from here. If they interact, right? So let's imagine that in here we have, 3 people. And I'm sorry if I'm not that good at drawing, right? So let's go like this, and let's go with the third dude like this. So what happens? That if this guy interacts with our post, right? So we have this beautiful man right here. Then what's going to happen is that your content is going to be spread again to other people within his first interaction. And if we were to make the oversimplification without you looking at me drawing that I'm very ugly and not good at, of doing this, then eventually we would end up in that if this guy, which is the second layer connection, right? Because we said that right here we have the second layer, okay? If these guys interacts, then ideally the third layer connection will start seeing your post. And so eventually Jack, which is this guy right here that you can see, Jack will interact with us. Now, one last thing, which is super important, is that you don't have, and let me zoom out a little bit, you never have an interaction which is, actually, let me draw it in black. You never have an interaction that is linear between followers and reach. What does it mean? It means that it doesn't matter how many millions of followers you have up until a certain point, because eventually the platform will start capping you. And it will start capping you most likely after the 20, and the hard cap will come after 50K, right? Apologies for my coffee, but I really need it. So what does it mean? It means that if I were to plot you the followers that we can reach with the post with the reach, right? Which is basically the impressions, what do we see happening? Oh, like we see that initially follower and reach are linear, and then eventually you start seeing that the amount of people that you can reach with your first level connection at one point will cap, right? Because the algorithm will not allow you to reach all of your followers. And why is that? Because the more the algorithm or the more the platform becomes competitive, the more the algorithm needs to show the right content which is relevant to the right people. So this hard capping is not necessarily a bad thing, but in another thing, it is, specifically if you're trying to monetize or make money with it or sell services, right? And why? Because if this guy doesn't interact, then we lose all of the trees below, right? So everything that we will be doing also with the content creation will be done to maximize this part right here, okay? And as you could see from my post, I have mainly first and second level connection, which means that the post achieved 100% of the thing, right? So that is very, very important. And that is also why I am being very cautious on who I accept. And that is also the strategy, because I think I have around 3K connection, 2.4 are pending, and I'm rejecting quite a lot, and my following is 42, okay? So, and we will go in this lesson on why this is important and why you have to do it specifically if you plan to grow your account really big. But yeah, so this is the thing that we're trying to do. So the things that we will be doing right now in this module, and why I talk about tribe or community or what you choose, whatever you want, right? But it's because the relevance of having a super strong first layer connection / people that support each other and etc., it's incredibly relevant because let's not forget that LinkedIn is a social platform. And so as such, they want to keep the social aspect real, and you actually want to engage with real people, right? So everything will be done to maximize this. And now that we know the why, let's go and know and tackle the what are we actually doing. And then eventually we will go with the how in the one-to-one call. So the first thing that you need to know is that the first one is that you need to find a larger creator on the space, right? According to your content pillars. So that's why defining those in content pillars is so relevant. And how can you define it, right? So above 100K, and you have 1 million plus followers right here, right? So actually, Andreas has 200K, but he's growing super well. And why do we want to find this? Because if I go back, to our drawing, like actually, let me not go back, but you can see that if the first layer connection that we have is super strong, and we spent enough time to create the right connection, then if that person interacts, then we shoot it down, right? We become more visible because his first layer connection is massive, okay? So that said, we want to go there. And then we want to go inside their comment section on each post and study who is actually commenting there. Why? Because if we are doing this, it's very likely that we will be able to find people that are on target with what we want to do. And these are actually the people that we might want to reach out in order to make sure that we're creating the right relationship, right? Because now that we found the ICP and we found the content pillars, we need to start creating this first layer connection that will enable our post to go through the initial capping of the algorithm. And if you can see, this is one of my posts. So what I'm teaching is actually very valuable because this guy has 1 million follower, 1.5K million, 1.5 million. And he asked me actually to swap engagement. So I'm very happy to receive this. Now, this other guy is in AI. So if you can see here, he's in AI and he has 80K. And we're swapping engagement. So the things that I'm about to teach you are extremely valuable because they will get you noted, right? this is the relevant part. And you want to start creating these things because just like in my case, then you end up having a lot of connections with top creators and you can expand your reach, your product, you can support each other and so on and so forth. And by the way, even these two guys, fantastic content, amazing, and I would say top tier, specifically Pascal in the AI space. Now, what is the step 3 that we want to do? So we want to check them out, right? And we want to check the people who are commenting every single day on those massive accounts. And we want to start studying them and we want to start mapping them. And why do we want to do this? Because we want to see, are these dudes posting daily? Are these dudes creating content that actually resonates with us, meaning it's similar topics? Maybe it's a competitor if in the strictest way, or maybe it's not, and etc. And then the third layer is if they are below 10K. And why is that? Because now we're a small account, and when we grow, the strategy totally changes. Like this is a strategy that is good for smaller accounts, right? But if you're below 10K, then it's easier that these people, if you start applying the right strategy, will get you noticed. And initially, because I still need to frame how many people do we need to reach and where do we need to go and etc. But ideally, we want to go on those small creators and starting to engage with them because we want to have as many first layer connection possible that are actually interacting with our content. And mind you, before you can reach a point where a 1 million follower account engages back or asks you to engage back, even if you're such of a smaller size, it takes a while. And for them to come to you, it means that your engagement needs to be extremely high. And as you can see, I have almost a 10% engagement of my following. And the reason is because we built a long-term brand with a lot of value in it, and so on. Now, step number 3 is if they pass these quick checks, then you start actively engaging with their content and you start creating the relationship. And this is valid for the strategy up until the 10K. It's valid up until the 50K and 100K plus. The things that we're going to change along the way, it's simply the pool of people and the size of the account that we will actually be able to target. And how we're targeting them will also change a lot throughout the thing, because up until already at my size, most of the things is done through DMs. But for 10K lower, it's fine enough in the posts. Okay? And this is how you turn on your post notification. So you go inside their profile, there will be a bell, and then you want to put the all thingy because you don't want to use the most relevant, because otherwise, and now we understand why LinkedIn has implemented all of these things, and now understand why they are and what's the intent. But if you put most relevant, LinkedIn algorithm will decide for you what you should be seeing. If you put all, then you will be able to have the all notification turned on. So once you have done these two, then what will happen is that there is a highly likelihood that these creator will put them on your radar, and we don't have to expect a one-to-one swap immediately. It might take like a week, it might take a week and a half, and so on and so forth. But creating this first layer is a great way to both support fellow creators, but also to make sure that they are reciprocating, which is what we want to achieve at the end, right? And how do we do it? We just create comments that are sparking discussions and or boosting further their posts. And what do I mean? I mean that most of the times I have this happening very often. If their post goes viral, then your comment gets boosted. And it happens that if a post goes very viral, your comment gets 30,000 impressions, meaning that 30,000 people saw your name and etc. And this is a growth hack to grow more and more. So you want to make sure that you're offering valuable comments within the niche. And this is very time intensive, right? And they might either reach out, either start engaging back. So this is the end in mind, right? So this right here, we want also, if they reach out, we want to say, oh, thank you, love your content. However, I was thinking about planning a swap engagement. Would you like to swap back, I love your content, and etc. And that's why we need to have the filter of the content is resonating with us or not. Do we find it valuable? Is this aligned with our brands and etc.? Because mind you, and this is the thing, if you want to sell people how to become entrepreneurs, for sure you don't want to reciprocate with someone that is praising like the employment as a sure way of living, right? Because you have an employer that gives you a job, and the other way around, right? If someone is I don't know, in the space of placing things in corporations, and therefore their content would be, hey, corporations are great and 5 green flags of a good employer and etc., that might not be aligned with your content strategy if you're trying for some whatever reason to pull people out of the 9 to 5. So this is to say, who you engage also will be visible to your first layer connection. So let's make sure that we're actually engaging with the right people to achieve the right things for our brand. Okay? Now, will this happen 100% of the time that they reciprocate? No, because no one really cares about who we are, right? They only care about their content and what they want to achieve and how we can help them. So sometimes we put in the hard work and we say, okay, like if neither works, I just put this. Sorry for this, I am stuck with AI stuff, so this is a dynamic variable. But so this is a template I used to use. After a while, generally I would wait 1-2 weeks of reciprocating engagement for this to work. But sometimes it happens that they reach out sooner. Why do we want to go with DMs after a while? The reason is because, just like in this stupid example that I just showed you, like with 2.5K, I barely check my requests. So because I found that the people that are willing to put the more effort and etc. will find other ways of communicating with me. So I generally rarely accept or do this stuff and etc. So this is to say, requests, the fact that you're sending it might be buried. And also another thing that you need to think about is that LinkedIn right now, and not many people know this, but allows you to have, and this is why I want to introduce it here, the concept, a maximum of 30,000 connections. Okay. So what does it mean? It means that most likely someone like Pascal, someone like with 1 million followers, and you have plenty on LinkedIn, will have their connection maxed out. So in a way, you need to make it through this if you want to be connected with someone this big, and you need to make sure that swapping you for someone else, which is still effort, right, will make sense for them. So that's why we want to push as much as we can and do as much outbound as we can where it makes sense and where it aligns with us. I still did not say how many connection, how many things, whom should we contact and etc., because I will touch it in a while. But here I just want to give you the 80-20 of why are we doing what we are doing, and then I will tell you what we're at, like where do we implement it and at what point. And now we just repeat the process. So the target is to have at least 50 people that are reciprocating engagement on a daily basis. What does it mean? It means that we need to work very hard for this to happen, because most of the times these 50 people are really, really tough to achieve. So, yeah. So step 8, this is optional. I don't do it with everyone. I do it with people that I really enjoy the content of, or that I think they have really valuable insight, and or that I could collaborate in a business with. I surely don't do it just for followers because they don't matter as much to me. But hop on a call, book a call, and etc. Specifically, it's good to have a DM strategy specifically for your boss in case he wants to develop further relationships and stuff, considering the niche he's in and the exposure he has. Cool. Now, why this? Why this? We're gonna answer it with this. which is, now that we have clarity on the best practices for LinkedIn, now that we have clarity on the first layers, now that we have clarity on everything that is related to how to create a tribe, let's now start giving us, and we know that we need 50 people reciprocating and etc. But we still did not tackle how do we grow, okay? And how do we achieve that tribe? So now we said that we have few steps to check, but let's now go into the details. So in order to set up the best comment swaps, I don't know what's happening here. It's crucial to maximize your comment swaps. Perfect. Apologies, I will correct it. Perfect. So this strategy involves quite a lot of stuff, but there are a few essential rules. And the first one is you want to comment on these people, and I will give you the exact split right now, but within the first 15 minutes of the post. And you want to leave comment longer than 5 words. And why is that? Because specifically with text platform, now it's slightly changing, to be honest, because the posts do generally last a bit longer and the content is pushed to the feed a bit longer. However, as a rule of thumb, most posts, it's not all, but most will last 24 hours. And the performance that you have within the 24 hours is done mainly within the 15 minutes of posting, specifically on LinkedIn, which is very different from YouTube. Now, why 5 words? Because as of today, so as of the recording of the video, this is the minimum amount of words that would prevent LinkedIn to think that you're using either pre-generated comments like thank you or best of luck and all that stuff, and or AI. So you also want, if the target is for the creator to notice you, you also want to do 3 other things. One is you want to ensure that your comments are original. And as I said, you need to somehow spark discussion. I have few recommendations that now are upcoming, but that's the intent that we're having. Now, you want to comment on every single post that they make. And the reason is because you want to make sure that these guys are actually, noticing you. And you want to maintain consistency. So this is to say, don't just comment to stuff and then leave for a week and then expect that these people remember you. So because the way creators do work, for those that are involved in the platform, and I do this myself, is we engage with in the first 5 minutes because we want to see who's actually supporting us. And then eventually the team takes over, right? Like I have my team and most other people have their team and etc. So you just leave it to the brand manager or whatever. Cool. So let's talk about connection. So now we know that we need to target these big creators, okay? And we have the 1 million or 100K plus and etc. But what is the strategy to go there and how do we go there? So you need to have 2 things. One is comments, which is what we just discussed, and the other one is connections. Connection, in order to grow your account and in order to grow your business, because you're not only talking about accounts, but we're talking about business. And money is the number 1 metric for me that you are making because it means that we're having an impact on people of any sort, by the way. So 100 connection a week is divided into 30 people on your mission. We want to have a support system, aka first layer connection, that is actually on a similar mission of ours. What does it mean? They may not be your direct competitors, but they are on a mission of growing a personal brand, monetizing an agency, selling a newsletter or whatever, right? 30 is content creators. So for content creators, it's those guys that are like doing partnerships and many other stuff. And they have the ability of being very good at identifying which content works because they do it for a living. So let's keep an eye on those. So here we're talking about entrepreneurs / owners / coaches / whatever. Here we're talking about content creators. Okay. And 14, it's potential clients. Why is that? Because again, if I go in my first layer connection, right? And now I have this, I have people with a mission, so green, and green people. So people with a mission bring other people with a mission that want to connect with you, which means that eventually you will reach a point where your first layer connection of people is extremely active because you will keep on being seen by people that are on that first layer connection. Then 30 content creators. Why? Because if we connect and a content creator interacts, they tend to have a very large following. Doesn't necessarily mean they're making a lot of money. Actually, most of the times content creators, if they don't have a product, they don't make money, but they have a following and we want to attract that following, right? So this is why we need these guys over here. And eventually, why do we also need clients? Because if a client interact with us, then eventually it's very likely that the client is connected with another guy that it's in a similar industry. And that's why we want to have that person interacting with our content. The reason why when we talk about content creation, we will try to make content as valuable as possible for our ICP. And the reason is because eventually this client will go to another client, that will go to another client, that will go to another client, and so on and so forth. And that's why when we will talk about content, we can do also lead magnets that are extremely good to go on the blue route. So to go literally here. And lead magnets tend to be performing very well and attracting very well people right here without being overly salesy, of course. Cool. Now, let me go with red. Expect a 40-50% of acceptance rate if you put a tons of effort. What are the most difficult people to target? It really depends. Because it depends on what? It depends on the size and it depends on the intent. Probably these people are going to be very easy because they are also on a similar mission, which is growing their account. Of course, we're going to have a lot of unfair advantages versus them, but that's one. And content creators, this is going to be potentially very tough. And clients is going to be potentially very tough. Why? Because clients tend to be not active on LinkedIn. So for example, business owners tend to be very busy. So that's why also when we will talk about posting time, we will need to validate that the posting time that we have is aligned with our niche, with our market, with when the entrepreneurs are there or our ICP, depending on who we're targeting, right? So if we were to sell, recruitment services, we would not post at 12, right? Like everyone is working. You would post at 6 p.m. CET if you want to target the CET market. You would post at, 6 p.m. CET if you want to target the US market. So on and so forth. All right, then how do we craft powerful outbound messages? So here there are a couple of tricks, but I would say that the first one is personalization. So when I mean personalization, I don't mean the usual LinkedIn thing. Hey, loved your post only on X, would love to connect. Like, you didn't tell me much. So, what you want to do is break a pattern. So if you mention something specific about their content or mirror their tone of voice or styling, I think that's a way to break a pattern. And I will tell you one thing that made me laugh quite a lot. But when I was posting comment and a guy wanted to enter my community, he changed his headline to please, Joe, accept me to your community and send me a connection request with no messages. And when I read the headline, I was like, okay, fine. So made me laugh. So whatever. So this is why breaking pattern is important. And to tell you this, if you're not familiar, I have a very nice analogy, which is imagine being in the street of New York and you have a lot of people that are, and this is also valid for sales, it's for everything, right? So, and you have a lot of people coming and you do and they're all dressed in like regular colors, right? And you do all the way. And then once we reach here, I ask you, hey, did you see the girl with the blue shirt? And you're going to be asking me, okay, Joe, which one, right? So we are right here. But then if at one point there is a dude that is dressed like a banana, like this, literally, this is my banana, I'm so sorry, and with a gigantic thing, and then once I come here, I'm gonna ask you, hey, did you see the banana dude on the side of the road? And you're gonna tell me, haha, funny. Yeah, this is to say, we want to be the banana guy in the street of New York in every single thing that we do, and I am going to ensure that we are. Because this is the only way that we have to be successful. So even though the example seems childish, the execution of this is very, very tricky and it will require a lot of work. So this is to say, don't be lazy when you're personalizing the messages because you will need also research and value. So, and these are the three main key factors that I am stressing on when we do this. So, and the reason is because even for this, and I just want to make another example. So this is not our case, but this will be good when we are targeting people. So I am getting now a lot of messages on people that want to be YouTube editors for me, and they send it to me in DMs. And the thing is, I get the, hey, loved your videos. I became a big fan after seeing this, blah, 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 blah. I got a dude that sent me a loom and went like, this is for you, how I would improve your video. I'm of course going to press on that thing, right? Like, he's giving me value. He's giving me a thing in advance, and he's giving me his time. I'm of course going to press on that. I ended up not hiring the guy, like the quality was very bad. But the outbound message was extremely well crafted. And this is what matters, because even though the 1,000 millions people that were extremely good, I might have lost them, like this guy got his shot and they didn't get the shot in the first place. So that's why we craft compelling outbound messages when we are reaching out, engaging, reciprocating, so on and so forth. So this is my pro tip, and I do this very often. And I ask my team to keep a close eye on this, which is when a big creator is sponsoring something that they actually care about, like cohorts, newsletters, products, launches, like really comment, but make sure that you're commenting like not the AI enhanced comment, but you're really commenting and sparking discussion and pushing it, and sometimes even repost if that's a good friend of yours, like even repost. So yeah. Now, I want also to stress the fact that we need to be smart with our time. So if we will start at 600 followers ish, from what I understood, but and we will blow up very fast. But if we are at 5K, let's not target the million followers. Like if we are at 5K, let's target the 10. Let's continue giving value. When we're at 10, let's target the 20, because 25 is already one step, like it's a million miles away from 20. And when we are at 25, let's target the below 50. And when we are 50, let's target it 100. And then above that, like whatever. Like that's just DMs at that point. But this is to say, if we share good enough value, a lot of people will reciprocate. I have a lot of million followers account that are reciprocating with me because they asked me. So that's why, for me, content will be the most important things, because we need to give value to our ICP no matter what. Cool. Nothing more on this. Now, this is a very good one. So, one powerful hack that you can use to get attention from creators and having meaningful involvement overall and etc. is to tag them in your content. However, we need to be careful on this, because what will happen with the LinkedIn algorithm is that if you tag someone and they are not ready to reciprocate, let's imagine that we have our 15 minutes mark, that is what we are playing with, right? In reality, for the content is a 1 hour when you tag someone, but your post will be boosted because you have a thing. And then if the creator doesn't reciprocate, right, it will kill your engagement. Now, this happens 99.9% of the time. There is still the chance that your post might do this, but we are going for probability when we grow, right? So we want to make everything that we can do right, and we want to maximize this 1%. So, this is also to say that when we are reposting something, because we will, and I will tell you also why we do that, and or in what way we do that, because we don't just press repost, but we want to make sure that that person actually reciprocates. And this, by the way, hurts also your image. If I repost a post of, I don't know, let's imagine that I repost Pascal because we had it before, and he doesn't reciprocate back, like that looks very bad on me, like, right? Like, and we don't want to damage the brand just to get a couple of followers, because then the good ones will leave. So yeah. Now, cool. So authority and engagement, compelling corroboration. So the overall intent is just this. Never just tag random people. And this happens to me a lot of times per day, like really a lot. Specifically, my content reposted across this and that and whatever. And eventually it never works, because I don't generally reciprocate unless the post is absolutely brilliant or it adds something for my ICP that I want them to see. Because again, I'm a first layer connection and or a second or third for that person. So I need to make sure that if I comment back, then I add value. Good. So critical mistake. This is awful. This happens very often. And with our content, if we were to do it, we don't want to do this, because if people don't reply, we're dead. And we also don't want to spam. Now, the second mistake that I see happening very often when we try to grow a decent brand is posting and ghosting, which means that, as we mentioned, the first 15 minutes are extremely relevant. We don't want to waste them, and we don't want to give the perception that we're posting and then we're disappearing. So for the first comment, for those true hardworking humans, we want to reciprocate. Now, ignoring your audience is even worse, which means that imagine that these guys took the time to reply and to write a comment, and maybe they have been waiting for like 3 posts because they were shy, right? And then all of a sudden, we ignore them or we answer them some AI shit. So that may kill our brand. And by the way, my team is guilty of that sometimes, because they also, when the volume or when a post goes viral, and we have that discussion so often, in order to answer quicker, they try to paste the comment on ChatGPT, get an 80/20, and then send it back. And oftentimes it's awful. I could even show you a couple of examples of today's post, for example. And I keep fighting on that, because that is not what we want. So what we want is to make sure that we are listening to our audience, and whenever our ICP answers anything, let's just make sure that we are doing that. Okay, and then slap pitching. So you connect and then you're like, hey, I have this amazing thing for you. Like, no, that's not how we grow a relationship with someone or how we grow a brand overall. Good. So master the art of commenting. So now, what are the type of comment that are very good on LinkedIn, and what should you be doing? So we have generalized comment. What are these? These are mic drop statements, right? That drive home a strong message. And by the way, these are like here, I cannot make you enough ticks, or how you call them in English. Like, these are the one that are the most viral in every post. So we want to maximize this mic drop statement, or this too short sentence thing that will drive home value. Now, value-packed comment. So this is great, specifically on big creators. And this is a comment where, I don't know, imagine that you are writing like a couple of lines here, and then you go with a bullet of something, and then you close the comment, right? So you added quite some value there. This is great. This is time consuming. So unless you find valuable or you have an insight, let's not go for these. But these are my favorite. If I get one of these, I tend to reciprocate with the person that left it. Or I ask my team to do it. Cool. So question, comment, amazing, because then someone else might come and answer for the creator. And that's again the enhancing the conversation on other people stuff. Story-based comment, expertise, humors, some jokes. By the way, in the AI niche, there is plenty of people that are funny as hell and they are having it like super well on LinkedIn. That's not what I necessarily want to do. But it happens that at times I make something that's funny. And I think one of my last posts was funny. And I think the last one that I did was 4 months ago. But it also drove value for people. So let me see if I can give you an example. Yeah, there you go. So it's even being reposted 8 times, which is amazing. And it got 105,000 impressions. So I would say mission accomplished, right? But that drove home something. This is a post that is a funny post, but it's really not. I drove quite some people here and I got a booking, by the way. So this is a reminder for my fellow techies trying to make money with AI. Clients don't care what software you use. They care about the problem you solve and then the funny picture. However, what does it mean? It means that if someone is stuck with tools or is so tired of, learning millions of tools to then not being able to achieve anything valuable, they will relate with the content, right? So we also make it just because we don't want to be like the heavy dude a million times a day. But we also have this intent, which is to convert people to our funnel. Again, that's the only reason why we develop a personal brand, because we want to sell something that helps people. And that's the people I want to work with. And other than that, there is no value in having any other personal brand. If it's to show off, we don't want that. Now, who do we target? And we mentioned it briefly, but I want to be clear once again, because before I gave you the 30-30-40. But now the reality is that I want here to stress that you might have this, because sometimes it happens that you want to engage with someone else for other reasons. And I want to position it here because now after we described everything, it just makes a little bit more sense to have it here than before. And the reason is that right now LinkedIn has a capping of 100 comments a day. So my 30-30-30-10 is not on like a random thing. I also do this. And this flexible stuff is also for people that I want to support. And why is that? There will be a point in which, for example, I don't know, people that I'm helping to scale their own agency and they want my support on LinkedIn. More than happy to give it to you. Maybe clients, right? Or whenever we will launch our brand, of course, one of my comment will be nice. I move 32,000 people. So I leave that 10% for people that I actually want to support. And I would encourage you to do the same, because this is things that will pay off in the long term. You will decide what your 10% is, and according to the goal that you're trying to achieve, that will review with the why of the brand. Cool. So maximize your audience engagement. Here, it's a bit more details. We talked about the 15 minutes before. However, here I say 15 to 30 minutes because it's amazing. And my team is getting a ton of comments in the first hour. When the post goes very viral, I get or I do a lead magnet. It's like 1K, 2K comments saying one thing, and I will send you the resources. So when we do that, we want to make sure that we are actually answering. Okay, encourage discussions. Needless to say, provide extra resources. That's a thing that I do a lot. Again, this is like books, TEDs, talks, courses, PDFs, case study, and etc. And an example is, I think, today's post, just to make you also live examples that I care about. Yeah. So this is for people. So other than the platforms that they can use, I left books, resources, repositories, anything that they care about, and then the business part, of course. And then I always ensure that I'm triple checking that every link works. Then good. And then meaningful replies. So sometimes it happens to me, and it will happen to you also, considering the niche that we will be in, that people want information. And we need to be very careful with the value that we give, in the sense where specifically if a person is in need or of help or is an ICP, we want to answer the question and give the value that this people is looking for, right? So if someone asks me, I don't know, how can I grow on LinkedIn? I may send them a video. You don't want to, though, which is overshare, because specifically if and there is nothing bad about this, and I continuously say it, like, if you think that your product will not only answer their question, but will give them more additional values and resources and etc., we redirect them to the product and to go and check it out, and or we leave some other information pending so that they can ask further and we can move the traffic. So when I mean meaningful replies, I mean a thing that not a lot of people are doing, which is solve immediately the issue or the pain point of the human, right? But don't oversolve it, right? And this is extremely important, specifically for our niche, and the niche we will be working on, because it's a niche where people need help. So we need to make it very well. Now, scale your relationship as you grow. Now, you will do, other than content swaps, you will do free recommendations, because this helps you out, right? Like if you have been a client of someone, and it's nice that you leave a recommendation. If you want a creator to help you out, they can onboard you on the project, they can give you some advices and etc. And after that, you leave a reco. Of course, we're not lying, right? We're actually giving real recommendation. But this is just a nice to have that a lot of people appreciate. And then leverage your skills. So a lot of the time, people will be in need of your skills. So one way that I was doing it back then, when I was growing my LinkedIn, was that people needed, I don't know, automations for content creation. So I don't know, YouTube thumbnails or Finder or whatever. They didn't want to pay the tools. So what I would do is, okay, if you are happy to become a friend, reciprocate, I can help you out with this, you can help me out with that. And that's how we grow together eventually. Cool. And lastly, how do we master DMs and engagement? So DMs are indispensable for growing in text platforms, because with all the unfair advantage that we will have because of this course, because of all of the tips and tricks, growth hacks, how do we find the content, which will be the next module, and all of that stuff, you still want to send DMs specifically to your customers. Why? Because when you send a DM, and this is my main point to drive home here, your content will stay in their feed for 24 hours. So what does it mean? It means that here it will be very relevant, specifically when we do bottom of the funnel. When we do bottom of the funnel, I would like your team, or if the team is watching this, I would like us guys to have this very well engraved in our mind, which is, this is extremely, extremely important, because if we're trying to monetize in one specific post, then we want to send a DM to as many people as we want, not spamming, that are on target. Just because, again, first layers, if that interacts, then the content appears and etc. So this is a very nice trick or growth hack that I love. And then the rest is general things that I keep on saying, but I stress them out because I truly believe in them. Fantastic. So exercise for this now module that I would like to see is, I would like to see this compiled, which is the username, the profile link, the follower range, and the posting time. Because I asked you to prepare around 50 people, so I want to understand what are the 50 people that we are going to engage with, and are they aligned with what they want. So here you will have just these three options, because this is basically the ranges, right? Below 10K, we want 30%, 30%, 30%. We want to have the posting time to make sure that we have the 15 minutes. And then we want to make sure that we're leaving valuable comments. I will also, whenever I have time, review a couple of comments. So this is also helpful for me. So this is this. And to help you out a little bit, I created a short list with the top creators from all of the things. So this is mainly creators. A couple are also business owners, but this is creators. So, people that are valuable for us because they are a very good inspiration for also the content, and we will talk about it in the next module. And we will have a creator list. But for now, this is also good people that we want to start targeting. Of course, a couple of them are also my friends. There is not my name in here. So if you ever want to engage with my content, I will be more than happy. But have a look. And this is just to give you an initial list. However, I would much rather us to do it from scratch and take some inspo. Fantastic. So once this is completed, I will also give you in the call a couple of nuggets that we would use in order to grow faster than we would normally do. And I would give you another couple of recommendations on what roles we can play in order to grow the whole thing faster and achieve what we want to achieve in the amount of time that we want. So I'm going to just share with you a couple of growth hacks that we can use in order to accelerate the process and boost this overall. Okay, so fantastic. I will wait, most likely second call, and we can then discuss the rest. Cheers. See you on module 3. Cool. Module 3. So we now go to the very core of the things, and we go into content creation. And here it's where most likely we will start to have, just with this knowledge, your mind a bit blown away in case you're new to this. And I promise this will be super valuable and the core of most of the things that we will do together. But I can promise you that the iteration of me pointing out why the idea was good or not good, and etc., will make you develop such a strong skill. And this is what is going to allow you to crush it everywhere. That I haven't seen applied to other profiles. But yeah, so let's go to the core and let's make this amazing. So how do we produce content and how do we post content? So up until you have developed a strong enough presence in a platform, or up until your brand is exceptionally strong, we don't have the ability of producing whatever content we like. What does it mean? It means that if our intent is to maximize growth, to maximize profit, and etc., we will always play with unfair cards, which is we will always try to maximize the things that we want to do. And the possibility of achieving the things that we want to do. So in order to address this, I want to introduce a concept which is a pre-validated, the concept of the pre-validated content. And what does it mean? It means that as a new creator, you want to have to produce, in order to grow faster, you want to produce content that you know that it already performed well for other people. And also, by the way, if you want to convert, you want to model what other people are doing and are doing very well. And eventually, once you get the hang of a platform, you then will go into producing your own stuff, because then it will work. And why is this relevant? Because in order for you to be able to succeed and succeed fast, you need to learn one variable at a time. So you will have to learn how to produce good visuals, and we will talk about it. You will have to produce good content, and we will talk about it all in the next module, most likely. You will have to learn how to create posts that are worth reading, that are skimmable, that are educational, how to move traffic from one place to another, because putting a link is not enough, and so many other stuff. So you also don't want to add, at least in the beginning, the variable of, well, is my idea even good? Right? There is already so much to it, and I want you to focus on the things that will actually move the needle. So in order to, and we still didn't discuss metrics, and I will not discuss metrics yet, but the things that we need to focus on when we talk about pre-validated content, before even talking about where do we take it from and how do we benchmark, is we need to focus on one metric, and this metric is reposts. Why is that? Because repost is the only variable that tells you if your content is worth sharing or not. And I will make a quick example so that you see why we focus on repost and not on all of the others, because maybe the other metrics are not as relevant, right? So how many metrics do we have? We have likes, we have comments, we have reposts, and we have impressions. Ideally, we have also the conversion rate, so the amount of follower growth, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's look at mine. I'm a profile, I'm not really the good benchmark, but, and knowing what you want to achieve, I will tell you also maybe differently how you can benchmark big profiles and how you can pre-validate it from, create pre-validated content from big profiles, but I want to show you the right way to do it. So we need to focus on profiles that, let's say, are below 20K. Okay, that is where pre-validation most likely comes from. Let's remove your goal. Let's remove our end. We're now talking what we do right, and then we talk about what we do about in your specific case. So let's imagine that now I'm on target. To be honest, I'm also a bit on target, not your target demographic and market, but in terms of following. So you see that here I had a post, 7K impression, 6 reposts. Here, 100K impression, 8 reposts. As you can see, a meme, the only one that I posted by a mile. Here we start going into 25 reposts, 14K impressions. So you can understand that these two are not related, and that's why I don't care about anything else that is not repost. And I will also force us not to care about anything that is not reposts when we pre-validate the content. Then you see 21, and then boom, my own content from my own thing that of course performs much better than anything else with not a lot of impressions, right? However, now this is 4 days ago. Let's look at my metric. Okay, so we go on view profile, we go on show analytics, and we go on followers. Okay, and then I go past 28 days, and I go on the daily. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is a spike for me in terms of follower growth, right? So here is where my post went super viral, and here it's where my post got like 100,000 impressions. Okay, so this is to say impressions don't matter much so long as they move the right traffic. And now I will show you, so 130 followers. But now let me show you that I moved the traffic to my community though. I didn't put repost. I didn't put follow me. I didn't put anything, right? So if I were now to go where I actually move the traffic, boom, this is 265 people. So over the span of like, I don't know, a month, I moved around 5K people to my community. Yet I have such a low conversion because I am rejecting most of them, because I'm qualifying my traffic, because inside my community, I can help out only a specific type of humans. So that's why we are rejecting most of the traffic and we are qualifying the traffic. And that's all we have to do. So this is to say, once again, and by the way, it's not a bad thing. You cannot help everyone. And that's why we make free content. And we make free content because the end in mind is we help the people that still either can't afford our services, either, they're not on target yet, to go to the point where then we can eventually convert them. And then they can come closer to the brand and etc. And that's super important because we want our brand to be, first of all, helpful. So all of our content will be educational. So people, whenever they interact with the brand, they will learn a ton of stuff. And then if you can help them well, otherwise, once they're ready and once they will, have made more money with AI or they will be in a better place, then we convert. Now, why do I say this? And then I show you a couple of nuggets that you will absolutely love. So if I were to look at my profile, then what is the outlier? You will not have any visibility on this. So the outlier for you will be only the reposts. So if you were to check my post, none of this would work for you. And let's imagine that you're in my niche, right? Unless I go here, right? So 57 reposts. Okay. And why now this is an outlier? Because now I on purpose decided that I would stop growing on LinkedIn, right? Because I am having now my own product and my own conversion. But as you can see, I will show you a bit here. Okay. When I was when I was focused on growing my brand, because I made a bit more than 30K people in almost nothing, let me show you what were the things and why I'm telling you we need to focus on the creators that are below 20K, because you never know what creators above are doing. Because, for example, I'm not a creator in the short term, but I'm more focused on business. But you never know what big profiles are doing, right? So forgive me for this quick scrolling, but I want to make sure that we go back a couple of months where I was on purpose pushing my profile to grow, and there we go. So look at a while back, right? So when I was not sponsoring anything, 22 reposts, 37 reposts, 82 reposts with 76K, 19, 36, 66, 40, I was crushing it, and with even my own content, right? Carousel by Giovanni Beggiato. And we will reach that point. But the reason is because I don't care enough about following when I am at a certain threshold of followers that it gives authority. Okay? So that's why I'm telling you, look, 47, a 57, 22, this is, by the way, this was a sponsorship, but lovely. So you see, a ton of stuff. However, we just want to make sure that we're doing things the right way. Sorry, I saw I lagged. I think it's my laptop. All right, I think we fixed the laptop. Sorry for that. I'll keep an eye that I don't lag anymore. It's very annoying. Okay, cool. So that's why, we need to be careful on who we choose to pre-validate from. Again, I will give you in the live call a golden nugget on how to validate a big profile. But yeah, this is the thing, right? 184 and 171, 92. And you see that also, of course, the impressions were much higher. And now I niched down and I started converting, so I stopped growing on purpose, by the way. if I wanted to grow, I could easily go back to 100K in, 4 months. I think it's realistic. Cool. Now, let's go into a bit of more of why do we need pre-validated content? Like, what the is this? So this content is clearly performing well, right? 96 reposts from Charlie Hills, then 59, right? So it's an outlier. But what if I were to tell you that this content, just because I know LinkedIn inside out that was posted 2 weeks ago, is not his? Because 2 years ago, we have actually the ChatGPT prompt framework. And then look, how to master AI prompt frameworks. And they are almost the same, right? Rise, care, BAB tag, rise, care, APE, and etc. So, okay, something is happening. What if I were to tell you that OPEX, CAPEX, RevX, FinX, MEMX, PEPEX, everything with this is actually an outlier of someone else? Look at amazing 4, then 406, then 315, then 219. So it's clearly an outlier. Okay, so we start understanding that actually the content doesn't, but we see that the hook is changing, the visual is changing. So the content doesn't have to be original. It needs to be educational and it needs to be modeled. And this applies for books like Atomic Habits is also in some ways concepts, but that by the way, one of my favorite books. But in some ways, it's concepts that were not new. They are just reworked and enhanced with our own perspectives. So the concept of pre-validation, it's not a concept that it's a nice to have, it's a must have. And I will help you with the countless feedback and things that we will do together to master this art. And the reason is that here, for LinkedIn, specifically for content creation, no one is thinking in terms of entrepreneur. Everyone is thinking in terms of education. And this is the mindset shift that most entrepreneurs struggle to do, or people that are running businesses overall or want to run one. And the reason is that we are playing a different game. And if we want to succeed, like in every field, we need to play the rules of the game. Then, this is different than the fact that I will also help you with a funnel and then we will go into the business. But here, we're focusing on content. So now we understood how to look for a pre-validated post. And so we go at 315. Now, what... Actually, let's go back here. All right. So how would you... Oh, he's clearly copying Chris. Okay, nice. Old SEO, new SEO. Okay, cool. So how would we pre-validate the content like this, right? So you also see, and I want to show you something else, that the format is also very important. Because what is the title here? Which LLM to choose? Which is a pre-validated content, like half LinkedIn is talking about it. Right? But if I go here and I go into one of his latest posts, by the way, great creator. Look at this. Oh my days. Same stuff, different format. Right? Also, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT. And if I go down here, Gemini, Perplexity, ChatGPT, Claude, and most likely we will have the same stuff. And by the way, this is great, but let me phrase it properly. This is great because what does it mean? It means that if a content is performing well, there is a reason behind it. So it's never a granted, right? And the reason behind it is that there is a missing pain point that our ICP is trying to solve. Now, the fact that we believe that pain point is stupid, is incomplete, and etc., has nothing to do with what our ICP wants to read. And by the way, the content, again, sometimes is good that it may be incomplete if it's driving them to the product, and with the product, you can add much more. So this is to say, pre-validation and modeling is about ideas. Now, with the the idea is most of the work. It's 70% of the work, okay? Now, 20% of the remaining part is the format, and the rest is the delivery. So now, why am I saying this? Because according to the topics and the niche, we have different formats. And let me show you what I mean. So you see that in this case, which LLM to choose, we can have a carousel, and then we can have, I don't know, by the way, I also did this like ages ago. We also have cheat sheets, and we will go into details, by the way. And we have a lot of various formats, right? But this is for the AI niche. Now, let me close this because it's not useful anymore. If I go on here, look, let me close also this because this is better for the example. So this is leadership, right? This is a testimonial. So of course you want video, but that's why we don't mimic big creators, but you have image. So let's call this a infographic or cheat sheet, however you prefer. 1 second, cheat sheet, reposted, infographic. Okay. Now you see that here it's all about setting goals, performance, and etc. This is just his own product, right? So cheat sheet, plan, email. No way. Email like a CEO is the first thing that went viral for me. So I did this like a year ago, I think, one of my first viral posts. Then storytelling frameworks, so cheat sheet, infographic, whatever. So you see that in the leadership niche, we have cheat sheets as a majority. And by the way, giant creators, so the 100K plus, are a great way for us to validate not the idea, but the format in which we should be doing this. So now, everything that we learned so far is starting to get together before even we talk about how to design and stuff like that. But everything is coming together because we know that, and this will be probably, you can expect this, the next thing that I will ask you to do. We don't only have a 30-30-30-10 or 30-30-40 rule for comments, but we also have it for creators because comments achieve one thing, and that's our engagement group. But for ideas and pre-validation, we have a totally different ballgame to play because now we are not only playing the game of let's make our connection strong so that we can reach our customers, reach our creators, and reach our potential collaborators. But now here we have a 30-30-30 of, okay, below this threshold, the 20K, I am getting the idea. Above the 100K, I'm getting the modeling of the format, right? And so you see that now everything that we discussed so far is starting to come together, and it comes together in different forms and different ways according to the topic we're talking about. So this is to say, I will then share with you the material for you to give me per pillar, and I will actually might take it right now. So you will forgive me this because pre-validated bank ideas. Cool. So the thing that we will review together is, and here, this is a lot of work and I will be extremely picky with this because this will set us up for extreme success super fast. So I mentioned in the first video that we have 3 pillars. Ideally, if you want, you can have a 4th one. But then here I want the post that you would pick per pillar that it's pre-validated. And I will ask you to choose it from both big and small creators, right? Actually, let me do it for this. So this is for small creators. I want to do now move or copy. So create a copy. And I will do this for big creators because the intent with the small one we said is to validate the idea. With a big one, I want us to get an understanding of the format, right? So I want us with this thing, because I don't know which pillars you will choose, but it will take me a second to then assess it, if the format that you're choosing is the right or not. And what will this give us? This exercise will give us the 30-30-30 thing that we can then use in order to create pre-validated content. And so here we will have a list of small creators that we saw, and I'm going to also share it with you, but it's below, we said 20,000, right? Below 20,000 followers. This is the 30-30-30, and in here it's the above 100K, correct? Phenomenal. So now we are more than ready to move to the other stuff, which is how to create the content. Actually, let me just make sure that within my notes, I discussed about everything that I wanted, and I have everything in place. Cool. Actually, one thing that it was not in my notes, but I think you would find it valuable. How do we find the creators? So let's go back to LinkedIn. LinkedIn. Sorry for this back and forth. Apologies. Fantastic. So let's imagine that we are on the AI niche, or whatever niche we want to be. We have few ways. So the manual way is AI, or how to use AI. Okay, how to use AI is I don't know, a general keyword that I have inside there to start seeing. And let me just make sure that I'm still filming. Cool, and I'm not lagging. Fantastic. So to see if everything goes live. So here I check, and okay, I don't know who this is, but this seems like something very cool, right? Like this guy 10 hours ago, and I don't know, 54K. Okay, clearly a repost seems decent, not an outliers if we look at the repost, which is the only metric that we care about. So not as impressive as it could have been. And now here you have the possibility, nice, this is a friend of mine. Great content, by the way. So, okay, 13 reposts, and then we could continue scrolling and etc. The other method that I suggest is this. So actually, let's go to Charlie, and we can go here in the comment sections, and then we can go down here and see who's playing our same game with less advantages, but we can see, right? And how do you do? I help coaches and consultant generates through per whatever. I don't know what that is. Ads that make you money. So this guy might be in target, and we start seeing also who interacts with this guy. President, not interesting. And then we can start opening, right? We can start opening one, opening another, and etc. Of course, we know that who plays the best game is the people that are commenting first. So ideally, we would like to scroll down, because you see, after a while, creators are not going to answer anymore. We would like ideally to continue scroll down up until we see someone that we find and we see fit. By the way, in the thing that I gave you in the material, there is a list of 100 creators in all niches. So that's already a phenomenal starting point. Like, it would make your life just a ton easier. Now, what else do we have though in order to generate good quality content? So in order to do that, we have also Favicon. This is basically a tool that tells you who are the most fastest growing creators, and it's a tool, I would say, that helps you see who's ranked first according to their own their own rankings. And by the way, it's also a nice place in case you were interested in sponsoring or getting sponsored in either a newsletter, either wherever, because people are actually paying favicons to be there. So why is this a place you might want to consider? Either to I can't access apparently with my profile. I don't have it anymore. So either for you or either to be considered inside the platform. The reason is that they have a thing which is so-called trustworthiness score, reliability score. And this basically is a score that tells you if the engagement is appropriate, and it goes from 0 to 100. You will see a lot of people dropping, and you need to see it in two ways. So they make people drop that are not favicon creators anymore. So of course, or this is a rumor, I cannot confirm it. So that they renew, and it happened to me too. I was to 57, I renewed, I went to 99.1. After asking why to the platform, I never got an answer. But yeah, overall, it's a nice thing because it tells you also who's in favicon and who you can compete with. So another tool that you might want to check is Clio. Again, it helps you out a lot for the personal brand stuff. So this is also a great tool. Another tool that I can recommend is Say What. By the way, if you ask me, I go the manual way. I teach AI for a living. I use AI. I implement it on businesses, yet I go manual. I like it more. However, it can be a thing that you use in order to get a grasp of where the creator in the space. Don't get me wrong. However, this is also available with a free trial. You will love this platform. By the way, Will is amazing at content creation. But yeah, the tool is his, and he uses it on LinkedIn. So yeah, you will have a lot of people there. So it's also a nice way to enter inside a network of people that are also growing their LinkedIn. As a general rule of thumb, whatever you see on landing pages in terms of results, I would, it's not that I wouldn't believe it, but it's landing pages. So now, other than me being a fan of the Sideman, what other things you have? You have YouTube. So for example, let's imagine that we were to choose what content we are going to make. We can also take an inspiration for pre-validated content YouTube and then figure out what these guys are talking about and what's that. So let's imagine that we are going to go with agentic workflow. So agentic workflow, you have quite a few people, and if you can see, even thumbnails are pre-validated and all of the stuff, right? So these guys, full tutorials, so many things, right? We have a ton of things that we want to use on the things, so on and so forth. There is mine. You have quite a lot of stuff, and you can take inspiration also from here. Then what else can you use? You can use Instagram, you can use TikTok. You always have to find a way to use the content pre-validation. Now, I want to say one last thing, which is, let's go back to this profile just because we picked it for the to run our own stuff, right? So how do we, let's imagine that now we chose this, right, as a pre-validated concept. So we chose that 63 or actually 84, but marketing, I don't care enough. So 63 is an outlier. Okay. So, which LLM to choose? How can we model this? Either we can make the same stuff with different things, right? So maybe you could use, I don't know, instead of, we could do a Claude overview. So all Claudes, and then you tell when you should use the model. So instead of which LLM to choose, is how to, or you can even leave this, and Claude is the LLM, and then the various models are the things right here. So instead of best LLM, you have best models, or Google, or which agentic workflow to create, which AI tool to implement. Like, this is all angles with a cheat sheet, and then you use the same format. Or you could create a carousels, which is exactly what he did. Or you can simplify the things, right? Maybe this is too congested, so we could maybe remove a few things here. So maybe you don't care about camera mode, and then you just remove the camera, and then you spin it, your own way, right? So this is an angle, and this is how we can create a thing, and there you go. So here, what could be another thing? So people are interested in how to use Claude 4.5. So how about here we don't say, I don't know, Gemini or ChatGPT, and you choose whatever model you prefer. And then maybe how to use Claude, and you just, instead of 4.5, you just make a cheat sheet about Claude. And so you make something that it's just Claude related, and so many other stuff, right? This is stop asking AI to write your post. You can have so many things that you're gonna model. So you can even make a video. I wouldn't recommend it as much, but yeah. So this is most of the pre-validation. I'm skimming through because I believe we said everything that there was to say. So what I would do now is quickly walk you through what are the possibility of posts that you can create. I will use my profile for this because I move it quite often because I'm running a lot of tests specifically right now. So the post that you have, actually, let me go to, okay, before describing the reason why or the type of content that you can produce on LinkedIn, let me, I pulled this together real quick. Let me quickly walk you through a framework that I want to use, because then I can connect again to why we built a funnel in the first place. Okay, so simple visual, content, education, awareness, demand. So why do we create content? We create content in order to educate people. Why do we want to educate people? Because our ICP most of the times doesn't have awareness of what are his pain points or her pain points, doesn't have awareness of what solutions are out there, and etc. So we create awareness, and through awareness, if our content is decent enough, we create demand. And then more demand will give you more proof, and then we can spin the flywheel. Now, this is to say what? This is to say that your content, ideally, should reflect more or less the strategy that we created. So if I go back at the funnel that we described, we have that our funnel, as we mentioned in the beginning, is top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. So why you create content in the first place and what is the use case, I think we quickly touched it, is the top of funnel is to create attentions, right? So your only metric right here will be impressions. So this got me almost 1 million impression. By the time of this recording is 1 million. And this got me 122K. So here we're just driving eyeballs. This video or this content most likely will, and if you can see here, I got like 3K, 600 reposts and etc., but will help your profile to be exposed to people. Ideally, you want to make it as much relatable to your ICP as possible. However, this is a thing that applies to the majority of humans, right? So in my case, I help people run an AI agency, and I help them make money with AI. But here I taught how to build AI agent. Like, this is applicable both to the, entrepreneur, or the guy that is ready to invest on himself and make an investment to run an agency. But it's also applicable to the dude that's a software developer that's just interested in understanding how to build them, And it's also applicable to the guy that's working in a company and wants to be promoted and whatever, So that's why it's called top of funnel. It's still in your niche, but it's positioned so that it's interesting to everyone. Now, establish expertise. And if you can see, once your content goes, you can rework it. And if you can see, just because I changed this, I didn't get the 85 reposts and 800 likes, and that's because I'm testing the post. But this was posted 2 months ago, and it got these results. This is establishing authority and expertise. So here I'm saying, okay, I spent this money and I did this amount of research, and I spent even more, to be honest, but I am the authority. If you were a 7-exit entrepreneur, it could be, I did 7 exits, and these are the 6 main reasons or 6 things that I wish I knew sooner, or these are the 6 mistakes that I see people do, or I own X and this is why, right? And so on and so forth. And then you have conversion. Conversion is clearly done for the bottom of funnel. Here I was back then. This is not an hour ago. As you can clearly see from my profile, this is old pictures. But back then, before even I had my community, I was selling AI services to businesses. So I was telling them, hey, this is the thing. And then once I implemented a lead magnet and stuff like this, I saw that if I ask people to comment, then I bump my comment from 97 to 160. But what helped me is that the impressions did not grow linearly. And the reason is that here, with a couple of tweaks, I had people reading my post much longer. And that's why impressions are flying compared to this one, considering that it's a bottom of funnel. And by definition, it doesn't have to have a lot of impression because it's not applicable to everyone. So every company should use. So this is clearly for business owners, right? Now, what I would do for my bottom of funnel is proof, like this guy got this girl got Y, and I'm coaching X amount of people, and so on and so forth. Cool. So now that we understood the content intent, quick walkthrough through what are the possibilities. So pictures with quote, meme. By the way, again, if the intent is just to drive impression, to boost the profile, they are a great way to do it. So let's not underestimate also this amount of stuff. Then you have the educational pictures, or they can be cheat sheets, they can be GIFs, and etc. LinkedIn loves GIFs. Carousels of stuff. So this is literally how to start an AI automation. This is a cheat sheet, right? And then you can proceed with whatever else. Very, very cool. So these are the main formats. There is also video as a format. I wouldn't recommend to go video because as of now, it's on a different part basically of the algorithms. So specifically, like people will not see it as good on their feed as it should be. And yeah, so this is to say, don't go video yet. Okay, let me quickly walk you through the principles of design. It will be extremely quick. I will not spend much time. You and your team are super experienced on this. So, title, this is not even hers, by the way, but because you can see it from the bottom, but good title. So ideally it's a title that conveys or that creates FOMO or is educational. So, and you want a bold title at the top, 1, 2, or 3 line tops, and a good, nice visual. White spaces, it seems stupid, but I see a lot of people doing this mistake, like going too close to the borders. Like overall, the concept is so simple. It needs to be visually appealing, right? Like nothing more than this. If you do carousels, this is even too empty, but keep it simple so that people can follow along. Ideally, you also want to give, so here you see it's 2 of 11. Ideally here you want to give like sort of a timeline. What I used to do was like ... and then the number of the page. so that when people scroll, they know at what point they are, because otherwise they will drop early. And here, through KPIs as a team leader, I think now here they have 4. So here you could have even made it better, like the only 4 KPI a team leader needs. I don't know, for example, right? And then you explain and you do the thing. Or again here, again from the visual perspective, I think this is her old design. I think she changed the style, or she's testing. Actually, she went back to this. Okay, but yeah, again, she's very good at this. So also, this is a very nice example. 1, 2, 3, and then you break the pattern. So what toxic managers say to manipulate you and how to protect yourself. So here you are educating, right? And then the whole cheat sheet is the same. So the visual ideally reflects the title. And then the whole cheat sheets is about this. So it's pain, solution. And the first thing that we want to do, and the only thing that we want to achieve with this, is education. So again, no matter the niche, people want to learn stuff. And the only principle that I give is, if the guy were to take your cheat sheet carousels, whatever you produced, and were to print it and hold it, would they get one immediate things that either by looking at your design, either by reading your post, they will be able to apply immediately? And why is this relevant? Because not everyone will look at the design, not everyone will look at the post. Some people will look either, some people will look both, some people will look none and will just press like because they like you. But this is to say, all of this is super important, and needless to say, before we go into how to write a post, the first 2 lines, that there is no such a thing of write X, Y, and Z. The tools that I gave you before will help you with the design, but the reality is that there is no a limited amount of character, because the character changes according to the width of the phone. So you're just gonna make sure that you don't go to the more button, right? And it should be something along the way of 50 characters, but with tools that I gave you before, you also have the formatter. You can pick any formatter of LinkedIn, like literally I think typing LinkedIn formatter, and then you can just, paste it and see how it looks. There you go. If we found one. Okay. So, how do we write a good post? So, before I even tell you how we write a good post, let me pull up 1 second, because now we start module 4. And inside this module, I left 62 templates that you can use in order to get an idea of a good post if you're writing for personal stuff. However, feel free also to take the competitors' posts. So we did the example, I don't know, with Dora. If we were to make the example with Charlie, I would probably ask GPT to model the post or help me find different angles. But, if this worked and if this lens worked with this image, I would try to be as close as possible, modeling with your opinion, with your ideas, and stuff like this. However, now, this is how you write a post. And here you have the templates. Let me go back to our thingy. And so we can move to the next slide, which is this one. And once we are here, you are going to be able, and I need to zoom in, of course, to see the structure of a post. So, hook. Here we grab attention emotionally or intellectually. We need to have 2 lines under 40 characters, and ideally you want high scroll, stopping material, and or rhythm and contrast. So my thing was OpenAI released the most practical guy on AI agent, but no one is really talking about it. So, whoa, and then FOMO, and then here you will learn something no one knows. Now, do you like it? Do you not like it? We just judge from results, right? Like it's less of a personal opinion and more of a result-driven approach. So if the hook didn't work, then we need to change it and etc. However, design of the post is this one: hook, then body. The body needs to make something educational, needs to tell a story, needs to guide the viewer through the story that you're trying to pitch, and eventually needs to be extremely skimmable. 80% plus, I think, of LinkedIn viewers are on phone. So the things that I will highly discourage, specifically when we work together and etc., is to make long stuff. And the principle is to make it super simple. Few things written in a lot of lines. And if we were to go, I can't make it today with the screens. If we were to go back to LinkedIn and we were to take any of the dudes that we saw before, you see skimmability, it's super, super, super important. Again, boom, a lot of things, a lot of white spaces, clear design structure with one line, and then one plus the arrows. By the way, these are also arrows that I use on my posts and etc. It's nice to see. And everything on LinkedIn, because it's so visual as a platform, needs to be nice to see. And there you go. Another nice formatting with the same type of structure, no more arrows, but same 1, 2, 3, 4, probably because he saw that the format for him, it works. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So listicles seem to be the thing that in this niche is going very well, right? And also another dude that's very nice at Master AI and using AI tools and stuff is him. It's Ruben. And again, listicles, steps, and you see, it's a clear trend in the niche. It clearly works. So again, pre-validation of the content is also the way we write it. So that's why the steps that we're going to take and the focus will be on figuring out who should we model from, what works in the niche, what doesn't, and we will analyze all of the stuff together according to the data that you gather. Perfect. So now we know what a post looks like. Now, again, inside the material, so in here, eventually, if I can find it, this is not the thing, but in here, I left a bank of pre-validated hooks that you can check out with the team. I will not walk you over this. It's pretty much useless. And also the 62 templates that I created. It's all there for you. It's across different niches from LinkedIn, for LinkedIn, so many things, personal stories. It's all of the things that I gathered back then when I was growing my profile from scratch. So everything is there. All right, so hooks and body, we said skimmability. Now going back to our stuff, you have a CTA. So what you want the reader to do or why they should do it, right? If you want to do this, then this, and then the visual. So I will continuously stress it. The majority of people on your platform, so on any LinkedIn, will just see the visual and will just see the initial 2 lines, as you can see right here. So if this should be whenever you do anything other than the idea pre-validated and etc. So let's imagine that now we are at the point where we are ready to publish a post, but this is majority of the effort. Everything inside the post will not be relevant if people don't find these 2 lines attractive and the visual. And this is a bit of a hard reality because you can make as much educational content you want, but if people don't press on it, they will not really press on the post, right? So as you can see also here, very nice storytell like a CEO. You see, by the way, we saw before the storytelling. So all LinkedIn basically and all creators are using pre-validated content. So yeah. Okay. Now, we have covered this, and to create a nice design, I don't think that you need a course or explanation on what visually appealing means and divide spaces. So I would focus on analytics before even we touch the profile. So analytics here, it's pretty interesting, and because as we mentioned, everything inside the profile has an intent. And impressions is basically how much is your profile visible. You will need to drive up and down impressions according to the phase of maturity of your profile and the intention of what you want. Ideally, what you want to do is to make a high impression post right before an educational / conversion / bottom of funnel post. And the reason is because if someone pressed likes and so impressions are high and they read your content, the algorithm will most likely recommend them again, the same type of content the day after. So we have the DMs that we mentioned, and we have also us pressing like, commenting, and doing all of these stuff, right? So this is important because the way you manage impression is relevant to how well people will convert to the places that you want, and why, as you saw, I before did like a meme and then I did a conversion post. Now, followers, simple growth metric. If you are, depending on the intent of the and the phase of the channel, we will focus more on our profile. We'll focus more on followers, and then later on we will focus less, ideally. Then profile viewers, it gives you a very nice understanding of the people that are actually seeing your profile. And this is a very nice proxy of, by the way, who you are attracting, right? Because then from here, you're going to be able to go inside the metrics and see who's the most recent things. So now I do AI stuff. So AI automation engineer, and then a founder, and then 2 hours ago, okay, this is coming just because I published that I'm hiring, so this doesn't really matter. However, now interesting viewers, you can have this companies who's checking on me, right? And so on. Now, going back to our thing, search appearances of previous week. So where did you appear? And now this is why I started with a comment, and we still didn't talk about the profile and all of that stuff, right? We're going in the right sequence. You see that my appearance, 50% is coming from my comments. And I will tell you that comments is going to be where, in my opinion, LinkedIn is tripling down. So not doubling down, it's tripling down. Prediction 2026 and onwards. This is where we will play most of the games moving forward. We're not there yet, or as you can see, we kind of are already. So with our stuff in place, we will be able to appear a lot, and then we will be able to convert with valuable posts. So this is also why we did all of the strategy. We started with the community and so on. And now with analytics, everything makes sense and kind of is connected together. Cool. Eventually, then we move into impressions. And this is why, even though we talked about it, you have the daily and you have impressions, and also you have engagements, right? Not the same thing. Engagement is like the sum of likes and things that you get on a daily basis. Of course, now it's what time is it? 2:40 a.m. But yeah, you see that overall, what you want to achieve is, unless you're going viral, you want to have more or less a stable profile, right? Like spikes of virality are nice, but you will see that if you have a decent profile, you should ideally be stable. While if we go back more, when I was growing, then for sure I would have higher spikes of engagement, right? But as we mentioned, now I have my audience and my intent is totally different. My intent is to help people achieve a goal with AI. But here, we will do a lot of this for you. We will do a lot of this, specifically in the beginning. Cool. So, reactions. Reaction is likes, post, whatever. My metrics that I would like to focus on is this one. I don't care about anything else. I do, we will, but this is my main one. So, how many times your content have been saved by people? And this is insane because if you think about it, 72,000 people saved my content, mean almost as many as pressed like, right? So it means that they went back and saw my content. So this is why I mean highly educational, right? And this, by the way, is also what pushes a lot, but also, and look at this, 10K sent it to others. So this is where you can decide with data if your content is valuable or not, right? And this is quite a lot because you see the comments. The comments is your engagement group, fine. Also here it's the engagement group, but this is like actually, are we actually giving value to people? Is that valuable stuff or not? So yeah. And then top performing posts, that depends on so many things, right? And you can see here that a lot of stuff went viral a couple of times. Now, audience is your following. Where do they come from? I have a rather focused audience. My audience is doing AI services for business owner and or services. I have a very niched audience, very on target. That's why as a person, I received like a shitloads of sponsorship, like around 20 a week, and I reject most of them because I'm publishing my own stuff. However, that's a strategy that we might discuss with you. And to me, these are the things that I love, and these also because eventually these people are the successful people for my brand. Now, you will see that the content attracts different people. And initially, when I was posting only about technical stuff, I was attracting this, and this was at like 0 point something percent. And now in New York, US based, UK are becoming my biggest market, and I am starting to go viral more there. IT and this gives you, are you on target or not, and do you have a shit audience or a good audience? So as you can tell, now my seniority is decent. This is the people that I will sell the stuff to. Most likely, it's senior people. I sell relatively high ticket. So I can't have, and by the way, for example, in my case, there is not a lot of difference between being in my community and being outside of my community. The difference is that you can access me. And up until people don't get like good enough with their stuff, like I prefer to help them with the free content that is as valuable as the rest. But, and also this is a good sign for me, for example, because people tend to have higher salaries overall with bigger companies. That's not necessarily a true thing, but yeah. And also, this is also a good sign to me, right? So it's people that are in big corporations, successful, that are looking at entrepreneurship. That's my ACP. While for the rest, there is the free content, and I absolutely love that is as valuable as the content in my community. No big difference. Again, the only difference, and this is what I would love also to do for you up until we launch a paid thing, is that ideally the content will be as valuable for everyone so that people are actually interested in following you and will learn a lot by following you. Okay. Metric, anything else that I want to discuss real quick with you? Let me just have a quick look-see. No. The other metrics that we will track, by the way, are, in case you will be interested, conversion rate to newsletter, and we will track, in case you're interested in, you do a lot of public speaking already, But that could be a thing that we might want to track in case we want to optimize the thing for that. But it's conversion to public speaking opportunities from LinkedIn, depending on the type of content that we will push out according to your research. Cool. Now, let's go to profile. So again, profile, I will use my thing, but you have a bank of things. So you have the banners from people that are closer to your niche and or in target, and you also have headlines, right? Let me just move this and go back to LinkedIn, and I will share a couple of examples. So let's start with mine, right? And let's start with the banner. So ideally, the banner is the main action that the person should take, and everything should point in your profile at one point, right? So my banner points where? It points here, right? Clear roadmap to your first 10K, join AI Automation Founders. This is my link for AI Automation Founders. And if I go in my content, everything goes at my AI Automation Founders or my VSL, which is my video of me talking to people. And if I once again go to my profile, I have that my feed goes to my community. And if I go to my YouTube, my content, and allow me to put it on mute. Okay, my content goes to my VSL and to my paid community, and also my profile goes to my my free community, and also my thing goes to my free community. So this is to say, I will be extremely interested in nailing down the funnel because that's where we play the game. Now, okay, this works. Why as a funnel and why it's converting well? Because I am giving a clear promise. Okay, so this is my roadmap to your first 10K a month, and this is what I help people achieve within my community. Of course, for business owners or for already advanced agency owners, the game is totally different. So the game is I help you scale much more. Because for this, for example, with LinkedIn, you can achieve much more. However, it's a long-term goal, right? Like it's not a thing that you teach in the beginning. And AI Automation Founders, it's the thing that I enjoy doing, and it's my entry-level ticket. Once you are there, and if you enjoyed working together, we can upsell you, and that's the type of funnel that you could have. Okay, let's look at famous people that I like and that are in target. So your biggest year start today, Main Street Millionaire Live Feb 20 and 22. So why is this an amazing? Because it tells you what you should be doing, right? So this works because big statement, big bold promise, and they tell you exactly where you should go. And by the way, I also put in the file the previous banner that she had with the explanation of why it was working very well. And now I want also to do someone else. Fantastic. So why does this work? Because Hemi Award winning designer. So this is credibility, right? An introvert guys on how to get clients, grow influence, and okay. Super clear, right? This is their promise. Again, massive credibility. And group coaching / workshop, it tells you where it's going. And everything, by the way, is Success require all of you. I'll make the introduction, reform introvert, omnichannel, get help with your personal brand, content lab. So this is kind of telling you, hey, and most likely, I haven't checked him in a while, but okay, he has credibility there. But okay, we are at the level of probably fame that you don't need much of a funnel at this point. Cool. Now, is there anyone? I think another person that does it very well is Chris. So what he does now, he has a SaaS. So I love this. So co-founder of Searchable. Then you go here, you check this. And as you can see, very well designed, content, audit, whatever. And then boom, Searchable, visit my website, and then potentially get your brand recommended by GPT. And so also the newsletter is Searchable related. And also he uses a lot his newsletter as main monetization for the business. So yeah, cool. So overall, now that we decided and we had an overview, what do we do? So profile, clean, neat, with ideally a nice color on the background. I would use, again, a pre-validated color if you pass me the term, like meaning I would understand what works in the niche, why it works, and then probably I would go close to that. Or you do the same thing that I did, which is I went total opposite, meaning I chose a color that no one had back then when I started LinkedIn, like a bit more than a year ago now. And then that became my brand color, right? Like I was the guy that started this amazing color and no one had it. Now I think a few here and there, even bigger creators than me, but this brand color works very well for me. And so try to be as clean as you can with a picture. And approachability, I think it's nice regardless of where you are. Then a banner should drive the thing and the traffic to your link, right? Or to your featured. And here, promise and all of the framework that you will see in the slide. However, the promise that you have and how you can help them. Initially could be even join my newsletter to learn more about X, Y, and Z. And I'm pretty sure that some creators like these have them. Oh, there you go. Cool. Executive, message me to accelerate your success. Let's see what other creators have. Okay. They go to the platform and there you go. This is what I meant. A lot of people are going here and growing their newsletters because it's a way to, get the things right. Now, this, to be honest, it's a bit messy in the sense where if I were a person, I would just feedback, like go to the platform for hiring elite career talent. Then you bring me to a newsletter. Then you tell me get the internship, which is another thing. And then I don't know where to press, like if I were to audit this. And then here it's again newsletter. So I'm having a ton of CTAs that I don't know what to follow. So we will simplify it. Okay. And then clear headline. Again, all of the content inside the folder with all of the proof, why it works. You can model those and etc. But this is mine. I help founder. This is my promise. Then what I made, right? So authority/proof. And this is join there's a link in my featured. Then you can also access it pressing here. And you can also access it pressing here. Now, about section, a brief story about who you are and how you can help people, and a bit of proof of who you are. Let's always try to have an about section that's not too long, but that actually tells your ICP why they should be there, why they should follow you, and why they should be listening to you and how you can help them, right? So about section is less about describing the amazing achievement that we did, but it's also about framing those achievements / the reason why you are on the platform in a way that it feels relatable to your ICP. And because of this, we will try also to optimize it with the language so that you're also searchable in some ways. Okay. And then optimization of the profile. In your case, I wouldn't bother with the experience. Like, we can have it there. It's basically run your achievement initially. It will matter a little bit more that we add the right skills like entrepreneurship and stuff. But with your type of profile, I don't think we care much about efficienting that. What I want to do and I want to nail down extremely well is your funnel in the profile to drive people where we want. And that's why on a separate note, we will discuss your strategy for the newsletter and how to nail it down, basically. Okay, one last thing about the CTA that I want to stress is this. I showed it to you, but I will, and that's why I would love now to train the team on nail this down and grow as fast as possible, because eventually I would like us to start creating something valuable also from the monetization standpoint. But in all of the posts, when we will do the CTA, there are two ways to do it. Or the hard CTA that I absolutely hate, which is join my newsletter for more and whatever. So here, or when you weave it in the post, and this converts much more. It requires a bit of effort, but it's even better for the readers. And by the way, even CTA wise, we would want to drive everything to one point. Now I'm pushing my VSL, so my video. Eventually I will push the community again. But yeah. So just to make you understand what I mean by, I will use one of my friends as an example of hard CTA that I don't like. Forgive me. You're successful enough and good enough for me to do this. At least I hope that he is still doing this. Yeah. So, okay. So this is mine. A lot of you ask me a roadmap. So here's the simplest practical one I can give you. And if you want to scale, check this. We're entering a decade, so it's kind of inside the post. And then this is also one of the first people I helped, by the way, with LinkedIn, with a couple of good reviews. And then are using a tool, drop your process in the comments, and then you can even see that it's separated. And then I'm building a newsletter to go deeper and go here. By the way, he's also big enough. I think by now he should have overcome. Like, okay, he will do it by tomorrow. He will pass me. But yeah, he's also successful enough that, and also with LinkedIn, that he can afford it. But we will do the 1%. And why am I doing this? Because he's, for example, not monetizing from the CTAs. I am maximizing the conversion of good ICPs. Okay, so with this in mind, I have jibber-jabbered for like hours now. Okay, and this is step 1. There is a ton of things to do, because the thing that now are missing are the following. So the first thing that we were discussing before is to create this idea of pre-validated content. This will be huge. Like, I know this is quite a lot of work, so take your time, tell your team to take their time. It's totally fine. I can wait it out. And then we will have the review of the profile. And then once we will review your profile, I would love to start discussing your funnel. But I would love to discuss your funnel only after the content is up and running and we master that. So after all of this, there is a ton of work. You mentioned that we needed to go as fast as we could. So I'm ready whenever. After each step, please book a call and we can go with the review. And after that, we start hammering. And I will send you a couple of additional stuff now via email to be ready. Cool. So I'll see you soon, and best of luck with the work, and I'll send you everything.